In this chapter of our look at Georgia history, we stop at the Southern Museum in Kennesaw, where we met up with Ava Wilkie and the Georgia Merci boxcar that's on exhibit at the museum.
It's a French 1880s boxcar, originally designed for commerce, then turned into troop trains during World War I and World War II. It's actually a gift of gratitude for liberating their country, among many things. We had sent some relief supplies in 1947, and in response to that, one of the railroad workers decided to gather veterans and commandeer these old boxcars and redo them and send them back to the veterans who'd rode aboard them during World War II. Every state got a car. 46 of them still survive. One of the cars was shared between Hawaii and D.C. This was boxcar number 25. It was the style of an 1880s car, but what's significant about it is that our troops, Allied troops, spent so much time in these cars in Europe. The car was originally constructed to go on the Paris Lyons and Mediterranean Railway, which ran from Le Havre to the sea. And many guys rode 12 to 16 hours at a time on these troop trains across Europe. So they have many recollections of riding these cars. And the French people knew this, so they sent it back as a gift.
We went into Le Havre, France, and got on the boxcar and went through France and then to Rosenheim, Germany. And we stopped on the way. They'd have field kitchen set up and bathrooms set up, and we'd stop every so often and use those and eat. And I don't know if it had square wheels on the boxcar or the tracks were wore out, but everybody thought we had square wheels on it with the rough ride we had. We had 40 guys and your brakes bagged. It was real tight.
The boxcar was called the 40 and 8, which meant that it could hold 40 men or 8 horses. Troops joked that would be 40 very small men or 8 Shetland ponies, but that was really the designation originally. They're pretty rickety cars. They're boxes. They have a spring buffer system, so when they stopped, they would clash together. Guys would sit back to back for comfort, sometimes have to lay head to boot on the floor. They would stop for restroom breaks and meals, but that's about it. So they would spend anywhere from 12 to 24 hours at a time in one of these. And if you think that it's about the third of the size of American Pullman that they rode over in, then the comparison is like a bathroom to a living room, so to speak. In 1949, when France gathered these cars, they gathered one for each state, repainted them, rehabbed them. French citizens contributed personal gifts to these cars to give to the Americans. At that time, they're war-ravaged, so they don't have any supplies to send. They can only send personal medals, bracelets, family heirlooms. These gifts were gathered by the thousands. In fact, so many, 9,000 were actually left in France before it was sent over to the U.S. The French gratitude train arrived in New York in February of 1949. Then it was paraded down Main Street in New York to about a crowd of almost 500,000. And then they were split into regional groups, and Georgia's car actually arrived on February 9th, 1949. The group, the 40 and 8 Society, which is a veterans organization named for these boxcars after World War I, the local chapter here in Georgia was kind enough to contact us in 2005, and they were looking for a permanent home for the car. They wanted it to be indoors, and they also wanted it to be interpreted and appreciated for the public. So they got in touch with our director, and we made an arrangement here to display it in our new education center. Georgia's car probably had about 450 to 500 gifts. After they arrived, Governor Herman Talmadge set up a committee to distribute those gifts. Some of them ended up with the Georgia Capitol Museum, some ended up with garden clubs, libraries, elementary school. The ones we have on display are from the Capitol Museum on loan here at the museum.
For more information on the boxcar and other exhibits and events at the Southern Museum, visit southernmuseum.org or call 770-427-2117.